In my previous video, we reviewed the historical underpinnings of a servant leadership mindset from both a secular and a Christian perspective. We ended that video with a list of the top 10 characteristics of a servant leadership mindset. In this video, we're going to provide a bit more information about each one. I will cover the first 5 of the top 10 in this video, and then the last 5 in my next video. The first 5 are listening, compassion, healing, self-awareness, and persuasion. Perhaps a few of these you've never considered as traits of a servant leader. For this list, I'll include a scripture to show how Jesus demonstrated each of the characteristics for us. Keep watching to better understand the principles of servant leadership in practice and in scripture. Hi, my name is Shawn Sommerkamp, and this is Motivationeer Christian Coaching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Please hit the bell icon so you can be reminded every time I post a new video, which I do 2 times per week. Please also consider becoming a member at motivationeer.com. Your membership really supports this channel. Thank you. The first one is listening, and the scripture reference from the life of Jesus is John 4:4-42. It's a long read, but it's very inspiring when we look at Jesus with the Samaritan woman at the well. Listening is like being a servant because we gain a better understanding of their world, what they're going through, their situation, their emotions, and their perspective of what they're going through. When we deliberately choose to listen instead of speak, we're going to gain an insight into the actual words that they use to describe their experience. Then, because we've listened without interruption, when it's time to respond, we'll be able to respond using the words that they use that will deeply resonate with them, which means it's important to ensure while the conversation is happening that we're not distracted in any way. If it's by phone call, really important to only focus on what they're saying, nothing on the computer screen. When it's our turn to speak, we use an active listening technique known as acknowledge and validate. If you want to know more about it, just go to my website, motivationeer.com, and use the search bar, type in acknowledge and validate to learn more. By acknowledging and validating them, when it is our turn to speak, we are listening at an even deeper level, further showing our desire to serve them instead of ourselves. Number 2 is compassion. The passage that I'll reference in the life of Jesus is Luke chapter 7, verses 1-15. This is where Jesus is in the town of Nain and speaking with the woman who just lost her son. Servant leaders not only care about other people's personal situations, they intentionally try to help. This can mean sometimes just showing a patience with them as they talk to us and work through whatever the experiences they're going through. This is them working through it mentally by thinking externally. And this is especially about being available, being there for others, even letting them know we're ready to help with whatever they want help with. I talk about this from another beneficial aspect in a previous video. Easily found is easily remembered. I do recommend watching it. It's always a good thing to ask them how we can specifically help, which means compassion is serving them before ourselves, because we will be inconvenienced by helping them. Compassion is putting them before ourselves. Number 3 is healing. The parallel is Mark chapter 1, 32-34. This is where Jesus starts healing a few people, and then the whole city shows up at the door to get healed, and he didn't turn them away. Although Jesus miraculously cured people's ailments, healing from a servant leadership perspective for us mere mortals means contributing to the wholeness of the person. It involves indirectly supporting our employees physically and emotionally. They may not even be aware we're doing this. First, we make sure they have a safe and wholesome work environment. Next, that they have the resources to do their jobs effectively so that they can be the best version of themselves possible. Finally, we help them remain active and engaged in their roles by keeping the leadership pressures that we experience from ever affecting them. Number 4 is self-awareness. The passage here is John chapter 3, verses 12-13. This is when he's speaking to them about heavenly things. He's demonstrating that he knows where he comes from, who he is. Self-awareness as a servant leader is the ability to look at ourselves deeply, to understand how we're feeling in a given situation, and to know how our responses affect other people around us, which means it's also important that we remain aligned with our core values. By doing so, it creates an internal balance. We become more self-aware the more often we stop and consider exactly how we're feeling in specific situations. This is, of course, emotional intelligence, one of the top 3 predictors of career success. And having a high emotional quotient allows us to better understand how our employees are experiencing their day-to-day roles without allowing our own emotions to get in the way, to affect the way that we see our employees. Number 5 is persuasion. The passage here is Mark chapter 16, verses 5 through 12. This is where Jesus is teaching his disciples about the influence of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Persuasion as a servant leader is when we attempt to elicit an action from an individual or a group that they would likely have not taken or thought they would have not pursued without our involvement, without our influence. And that's the key. The key word here is influence instead of authority. And in case you're wondering, this is different, of course, than manipulation. Influence aims to serve others. Manipulation serves to take from others. We don't want to be in that position as leaders. You can think of it as a cousin to persuasion is inspiration. We want to consider how our enthusiasm resonates with the rest of the team. Our high energy and focused ambition in our role as their leader will inspire them to work hard in their roles. These are the first 5 of my top 10 characteristics of a servant leadership mindset. My next video will contain the final 5. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for 2 new videos each week. Tell me in the comments below about your career situation and I'll make a video for you with a shout out. You can also become a member at motivationeer.com. Your career is not just a way to make a living, it's a way to transform the world.